Hey, yo. Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. Today we're going to be doing a special edition of what I am thinking. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel and know nothing about this video series, it is exactly how it sounds. I sit down and I talk about what I am thinking. Now, it could be about anything. It could be about the freaking blizzard that I have outside my house. Yes, it is snowing in New England right now. It can be about flash drives. It can be about Stephen Colbert. Anything. But chances are it's going to be something related to my channel. Something geeky, like comic books or video games or movies or anything. And what am I thinking today? Well, today I'm doing a kind of a trifecta, a three-part what I am thinking. I'm going to talk about three subjects. First, I'm going to talk about Batman Year Zero, which is coming out. Then I am going to talk about Damian Wayne, his death, and how I feel about it. And lastly, I'm going to wrap up with Young Justice, which has now ended, and how I felt about the show, and in particular, how I felt about the finale. So, without any further ado, let's get this shindig on the road, shall we? With Batman Year Zero. Now, Scott Snyder and DC, along with Greg Capullo, have announced that Batman Year Zero is coming out. And basically, it is the retelling or a look at of Batman's first year in the new DC 52. Now, Scott Snyder was very adamant in saying that the reason why he's doing this is that basically things in year one don't match up with how the new continuity works. He loves year one. He thinks it's one of the best comics ever made. And he's not touching year one. He's not changing year one. But he is giving Batman a new origin, so to speak. Certain things don't match up. Like, for example, in year one, James Gordon Jr. was a baby. If Batman's only been around for 7 to 10 years, I mean, and James Gordon Jr. is early 20s, maybe. I mean, it just doesn't match up. So he has to be like around 6 or something like that, or maybe older. Barbara Gordon, who was originally, before the New 52, was actually Commissioner Gordon's niece that he adopted. Now that she is actually his blood daughter, you have to change that around. But see, here's the beauty of this all. And I'm going to get into whether I like it or I don't, because the beauty of it all has nothing to do with my opinions. The beauty of it is, really, he can tell a year zero story, another year one story, and it really wouldn't conflict too much with year one. I mean, yeah, sure, Catwoman's origin is a little different. Yeah, sure, the Gordon family is a little different, but the general story of year one can still relatively stay. How do I feel about this? Let me establish first and foremost a very important thing for you guys to know. Batman Year One is one of my favorite Batman stories. It is in my top 5. It is like the exception to the rule when it comes down to Frank Miller and Batman stories, for me. I like Dark Knight Returns, but I didn't love it like a lot of people did. I like it a little bit more now that I'm older, but I still don't like it as much as other people did. But Batman Year One, that's like fucking top 5 for me. I love Batman Year One. And saying that, I am incredibly excited for Batman Year Zero. I'll tell you why. 1. In any other form of media, I would not want continuity to be tampered with too much. But in comic books, you kinda have to. Especially in comic books, because comic books have kind of a sliding timeline in a way. And continuity always changes because you have to update to compensate for that sliding timeline. Now, for those of you that know nothing about the sliding timeline, basically it's this. Batman is always early to mid-30s, no matter what. No matter how many years have passed, he's always that age. Another example, Dick Grayson is basically always going to be in his mid-20s now, or his early 20s. No matter what, he will never age. Sliding timelines. Time passes incredibly awkwardly in comic books. So to compensate for that, you have to update continuity, you have to change things. And I'm not necessarily directing just to DC, I'm directing to any comic book company. You just got to keep things going, and you have to change things in order to do that. So in saying that, the New 52 obviously had to change aspects of Batman. With this, we get a new, modernized, updated Batman origin. Done by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. And Scott Snyder is a much, far more superior writer than Frank Miller. Now, listen, to all the people out there like me who love Year One, if you're worried about Year One not being in continuity, it's probably going to be replaced by something better. Think about it for a second. Like, you I don't know how to really make. I'm not gonna do an analogy, but it's like you got this generic brand. No, that's gonna come off wrong. It's like having the Nintendo GameCube. Fantastic system. You love it, but it's a little out of date. And then you get the Nintendo Wii. You love it. Then it gets a little out of date. And then you get the Wii U. And now you're up to date. You're just getting something better. In my opinion, Scott Snyder will tell a better origin story for Batman than was done with Year One. And again, this is no knock to Frank Miller or to Year One, because again, like I said, Year One is one of my favorite Batman stories of all time. But I think, in my opinion, Scott Snyder is a far superior writer to Frank Miller. Because, well, Frank Miller's he's a little crazy right now. Don't tell him I said that. So that's number one. You're going to get a great, fantastic story. And it's not going to be a 4-issue miniseries, which I think was one of the things that, Year One really missed out on. It's not really Year One. It's really like 3 months of Batman's life in Year One. Everything else is filled up by the Legend of the Dark Knight series, which is within the Year One span. No, this is a 11-issue series. Maxi series? Is it 12 that it needs to be maxi? I forget. But it's an 11-issue series. Starts in Batman issue number 21, I think, and goes onward. So, 11 issues. To tell the first year of Batman. You can really flush out some continuity there, and that's great. And I don't mean flush out like in the toilet. I'm talking flush out the characters, flush out the history, really give us something good, which I like. A lot of people are complaining, well, I don't know what's in continuity. I don't know how to look at things in New 52. I don't blame you. It can be frustrating. Now you're getting that origin, a solidified origin for Batman. Helps out. It makes things a little bit easier. And here's another thing that I find interesting. A lot of people are jumping the gun already about how they feel about this. I think as comic book readers, we've become a bit jaded and very overprotective of our favorite stories. When Batman Year One came out originally, I don't think anyone really got into hoorah saying, whoa, what's wrong with the classic Batman story? Why are you updating it? No, they were saying, oh shit, you're giving me a modernized origin of Batman? Yeah, it's been like 40-something years. Let's go with it, bro. Let's go with it. Now it's been 20 plus years, 1985 to 2013. Was here? I think it was 1985. Let's just go with 1985. It was right after Crisis on Infinite Earths, but really, it's been almost 30 years, if not 30 years. And do the math. Just tell me. And we're getting a new origin. Why can't we be excited? Why can't we say, shit, yeah, modernized Batman. Great. Let's do it. Let's roll with it. Let's see what happens. Let's get excited. A lot of people talk about things being classic and you can't touch them. And yeah, that's true. But I think you need to update stuff every once in a while. So I am generally excited for this. I am pumped. And it feels like, this is going to sound weird, it feels like I'm back in the 1980s where the crisis just happened. We're getting all these origins for characters. And the thing is DC knows how to handle how often and how not often they should reboot or redo Batman's origin. Because, see, dealing with origins can be a tricky thing. You can have characters like Superman who gets his origin retooled so many times that it hurts the character. My particular favorite origin is the John Byrne Man of Steel stuff. That is my favorite Superman, period. But then you get the Birthright, and then you get Jeff Johns' Secret Origin, and then you get Grant Morrison's, and in that short amount of time, and there's a mini reboots in between. There's too much Superman origins. And then you get something like Wonder Woman, who's really only had her origin retold once in full with the George Perez 1980s Wonder Woman origin. I'm not counting JMS's because that was alternate continuity kind of. So she's long overdue for another origin retelling. And then you get someone like Batman, which every 40 to 30 years we get a retelling of his origin, which is good. It's comfortable. It works. It's well done. So I'm generally excited for Batman Year Zero. What about you guys? Are you guys excited? Are you looking forward to it? Or are you a little bit more hesitant? Are you trying to play it on the safe side because you do love Year One? And I don't blame you if you do feel that way. I'm curious to hear what everyone thinks, but like I said, I am pumped. Moving on to Damian and how I truly feel about the death of this character. I've been very hush-hush, for the lack of a better term, of how I feel about Damian, mostly because we don't really know. Grant Morrison hasn't finished his Batman story. When Grant Morrison finishes his Batman story, then I'll give my full opinions, but for now I'll give you my tentative opinions on Damian's death. And I'll start this off by saying this. I just got really eye-pitched. I'll start this off by saying this. Damian Wayne, as a character and as an idea, for me, was a bad idea that was incredibly successful and well done. Does that make sense? I'll explain. I think giving superheroes children tends to be a bad idea. And I don't like the idea of it. Even with some of my favorite superheroes, even with some of my favorite parents, going to stuff like Sue Storm and Reed Richards, to Batman, and I mean, who else has had children? Wally West, and Donna Troy. The problem with this is, one, is that the children will age the character. So now that sliding timeline we talked about, it screws with the sliding timeline. So then, and Leanne is another one. Roy Harper's daughter. So then one of two things is going to happen. The children are either never going to age and it's going to make no sense, like in the case of Sue Storm and Reed Richards. Vieira, is that her name? And Franklin, they've been the same age for how long? And then, or the character dies, which Leanne has died. Wally West's whole family's out of continuity. Batman's children has died. Superman, when he adopted Christopher Kent, that kid's gone. And he got super aged to make sense. But, kids generally get killed. And in that, I just don't like the idea of superheroes or heroes having children. Donna Troy, her children got killed too. Or her child. Why? Because she can't have children. They're going to make her look old. She's supposed to be a teen titan, not mother titan. Maybe I'm going a little too far for that. But the fact of the matter remains is I just don't like the idea of children being superheroes having children. Another one, Catwoman. Helena Kyle had to be set up for adoption. Unless you're willing to go full-fledged with the characters and age them, like Jade with Alan Scott, or with, let's say, Huntress and Batman in Earth 2, or something along that lines, children for superheroes generally is a bad idea. I'm all for marriage for superheroes. It works, but children, not so much. So in saying that, I hated the idea of Damian. I really did. I hated it with a passion. It turned out to work out well. A bad idea that worked out well. Damian was a character that had a lot of growth. It's a character that went really far, and he touched our hearts, and we enjoyed him. He was a different kind of Robin, but a Robin that we all grew to love. And for the most part, I would have to say 80% of comic book readers like Damian towards the end. I'm sure there's still a good minority of people that still think he's a shithead, and he is kind of a shithead, but he's a shithead with a heart. So, you have a body, some shit as a head, and then a heart. So he's a shithead with a heart. But the fact of the matter remains is that I think it was a bad idea that was handled well. In saying that, I don't think Damian should have ever got transferred into the New 52. I know Grant Morrison wants to tell his Uber story of how Batman has to deal with blah 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 blah. I don't care anymore because it's like 5 years too long. But I don't think Damian should have ever been brought into the New 52. It should have been Dick, Jason, Tim. That's just me. But I am sad. I'm upset that Damien died, and what kills me the most, the fact that they spoiled it. I would have felt that ending. I would have felt that story a lot more if I didn't know Damien was dying, or if I felt it was coming when I was reading. Like, why is Damien getting all huggy huggy with Dick all of a sudden? Is one of them gonna die? Something along that line. It's not, of course they're gonna have their moment. He's gonna die. This is so cliche. It would have been better if I didn't see it coming. Um, in addition to that, I don't think I didn't. He died a hero, but I don't like who killed him because the character has no development as a villain. It would have been cool if Ra's al Ghul killed him, or even Talia went to the extreme and killed him. Here's the thing, just to speculate. I don't actually think Damien is Bruce's son, at least not by blood. The reason why is that Bruce is the only person that knows, at least in the Bat family, whether or not he is the blood father of Damien. He knows that because in Batman R.I.P. he did a is it R.I.P.? Is either that or Black Love, where he did a DNA test and he kept it a secret. So I think even Tim, and I have to go back and read, and I will go back and read. Tim even commented something along the lines like, I might be related to the demon or not. Bruce won't tell me. Something along the lines. I don't know. So I don't think Damien is actually Bruce's son. I could be wrong. Maybe. Who knows? He probably is. But I think I have that theory in the back of my head. Second thing is, here's a funny thing. Think about this. If Damien is considered Bruce's son, wouldn't the Heretic or the Leviathan be considered Bruce's son? Because technically he's Damien's brother. So would he be considered Bruce's son? And if not, why? And would that be applied to Damien? Because he's a genetic clone? Technically, Damien's in a way a clone. Damien wasn't reproduced naturally. He was a test tube child. So what constitutes as Batman's child or not? Does Batman actually have two sons? Or many sons? Who knows? A little too much speculation for what I'm trying to get at. Basically, what I'm saying is, yeah, I'm sad that the little dickhead is gone because he was entertaining, he was fun, and he had personality. Do I think he should have existed in the first place? No, but he worked out well for what he was. That's my general basic opinion. In the end, the thing that kills me the most and the thing that I hate that DC's doing is they're turning this into. I think after Jason Todd, no other Robin should have died. I don't count Stephanie Brown because she didn't actually die. The reason why is because we've already had Batman brooding and being reckless and having to have some outsider come in and help pull him back from the darkness. Uh, it's just, we've seen it before, it's happened before, it's been done. I don't really care about Bruce's opinion when it comes down to Damien. Although there's been some great writing so far, especially with Tomashi's Batman and Robin issue number 18. Such a good issue, which was really touching. I'm more interested to see how Dick deals with it because Dick raised Damien more than Bruce did. So we'll see. We'll see how everything works out. We'll see how it goes. But that's my general opinion, which is tentative because again, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to give Morrison until issue 12 to tell me that story. Moving on. Well, Twitch there. Moving on. Last topic I want to talk about today, and that would be Young Justice series finale. I have been watching Young Justice, and the show obviously got canceled. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it's because of ratings or it's because DC wanted to open up that slot for Beware the Batman and Teen Titans Go. I'm leaning more towards the latter of the two, but again, I could be wrong. And I have watched every single Young Justice episode, all 45 of them, I think. I think it was 45. So I have watched all the episodes. Now, this is not a review of the series itself. What I can tell you is I thoroughly enjoyed Young Justice, and as of now, it probably ranks third or fourth on my favorite animated comic book based shows. Batman's anime series is at the top with Justice League number 2, including Justice League Unlimited also. And then it's Young Justice. Actually, I would put Young Justice at number 3, Superman at number 4. I did like Superman, and then the X-Men one was pretty good too. But anyways, I really did like Young Justice. I thought it started off kind of rocky, but it got really good towards the middle of season 1, and it's just started getting better and better. This is what I have to say. The final episode in the series finale, and I'm not going to spoil too much about it. Boy, was it good. There were deaths, very emotional deaths. It's not like, oh, I died. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm still alive. Oh, hey. No, people died, and they stayed dead. So there were deaths, and you can tell that they were setting up for another season, especially with Vandal Savage and what he was doing. But of course, we're never going to see that happen. Uh, it felt as though a lot of build-up was brought together, and it ended off on a good note. And I thought the series ended too soon. I think you could have at least got 2 more seasons out of it to really get something going. But really good season finale, and I enjoyed it. Like I said, at the end, what a cock tease. Because you have Vandal Savage doing what he's doing, and you're like, I want to see what happens. I want to know what goes down. But you don't. It doesn't happen. You don't, because the series ended. And I liked how a lot of characters got a lot of development, and a lot of characters that aren't big in the DCU were shown there and were built there, and it was great. It was good, and I've enjoyed it. It was fun. So it's sad to see this series go because it is such a good show. Again, I don't know what's the full reason why they're taking it out the air, but I have a feeling it's just making openings for a Batman show, which will get ratings no matter what because it's Batman. That's not biasness. That's generally the case. And then Teen Titans Go, which I think a lot of people will watch for nostalgia. So rating wise, they're probably making the right choice. Quality wise, not so much. How many Batman shows have we had? A ton. But Young Justice was unique in itself, and I think it was so good of a show because unlike any other comic book TV show, with maybe the exception of Teen Titans, this was very relatable for kids because you have this younger team on there. But that's just me. What is your opinions on this? Uh, do you think it ended too quickly? Do you want to see another season, or would you rather see 2 new shows come on? Like to hear. So I'm gonna end this video here, doing like a trifecta today, a tri-attack of what I'm thinking. Figured it'd just be easier to put them all on one video. So I'm gonna say peace out for now.